In today's lesson, we're going to talk about collapsing the buying cycle. You've learned all the strategies surrounding content. Today, I want to pull back the curtain and show you exactly why everything that we have done so far matters. Because understanding this is going to change how you think about every single day of work that you've put in so far and every day that's still ahead of you. From the outside, people assume that everyone making fast sales happens because of luck, follower count, or virality. But in most cases, those who are making consistent sales have simply done one thing, whether they realize it or not. They've collapsed the buying cycle. Here's what buying cycle means. A traditional buying cycle looks like this. Someone discovers you. They follow you. They'll consume your content for maybe a few weeks or months. They'll slowly start to trust you and eventually consider buying from you. And maybe they actually buy someday. That cycle can literally take months and even years. I can't tell you how many times when I was first in this space on the health side and I was building my content there, I had my offers there. I can't tell you how many times I had people say, I have followed you for years and I finally decided to buy your course. So this is what a buying cycle means. And this requires you to show up consistently this entire time just to make sure that you're keeping people warm enough to eventually say yes. Most people building something online are just stuck in this natural slow cycle without even realizing it. So when you collapse the buying cycle, here's how that looks. Someone discovers you, your content immediately connects with them. They then land on your optimized sales page. The copy, the testimonials, and the value stack, all of that hits home with what they need to solve their problem. And they end up buying within minutes or hours instead of months or years. Same person, but a sale then happens in a fraction of the time. The difference is in that time between discovery and their decision. People rarely will ever buy the first time they see something. On average, someone needs to actually see an offer somewhere between 7 and 12 times before they actually consider buying it. Sometimes it's even a lot more than that. And I'm not just throwing this number out there randomly. This is actually one of the most well-documented patterns in marketing. And it's true regardless of how good the offer actually is. So really think about that. Up to 12 times somebody needs to see your offer. That single fact by itself explains almost everything about why this challenge has been built the way I've built it. So let's think about this. If it takes 7 to 12 exposures before somebody buys, if you post about the Wealth Society or your own offer one time and then just wait and see what happens, it's never going to work. Your content might be solid, but because one exposure almost never converts anyone, this is why it's so important to show up again and again and again, and why being seen everywhere possible is truly ideal, why growth and strategy actually matters, why infrastructure and building your business beyond just content on your social media can be so important. This also holds true for people out there who have 20 some offers that they talk about. People never then have a chance to see what you truly believe in because they talk about so many different random things. The buying cycle can never actually be collapsed and they assume it's their content or the offer itself. So they turn around and they buy another course and they stop talking about what they really do love. So their audience then misses out and they end up missing the sale. So all of your efforts matter. Every single piece of content that you put out is another exposure. Every single story that you put up is another exposure. Every single email that you send is another exposure. Every single social media channel or outlet that you're going to use is another exposure. Every single conversation that you have with someone is another exposure. Every webinar they attend, every podcast they hear, every YouTube video they see, the list goes on and on and on. So you need to understand that your effort truly matters, even if it feels like you're not being seen. This is why consistency matters more than any single perfect post that you're trying to get to go viral. I want you to reframe your thoughts behind your work from this entire challenge. That post that didn't work, it was never wasted. It was contributing. Someone scrolling past your content without commenting is still seeing it, still being exposed, still one step closer to their buying decision, even if you have no idea that they're there. This is why showing up daily matters more than getting any single piece of content perfect. Volume and consistency do something individual posts really never can on their own. It accumulates that exposure over time until someone crosses their own personal threshold and decides to say yes and take action. So what this means for you moving forward, you don't need to take it personally when a post doesn't get a response. It was never about that one post. This is all about the accumulation. You don't need a viral moment to make a sale. You need consistent, repeated exposure across enough touches that someone eventually crosses their own threshold and says yes. The people who quit and slow down or they get emotional over their efforts, they just never get to see that payoff because they stop showing up before it has a chance to work. So here are ways that you can collapse the buying cycle. Now that you understand why that repeated exposure matters, here's a simple way to speed it up without waiting passively for someone to just stumble across you 7 to 12 different times on their own. So you can show the same offer in different formats close together. So you can do a reel and then a carousel and then stories all in the same day or even within a few days of each other. You can use real proof instead of just asking for them to trust you blindly. This is where testimonials can be super, super powerful. You can make the next step really impossible to miss by sending them the link directly, as opposed to telling them to go to your link in bio. When you do that, you're asking them to take additional steps. When you send them a direct message or when you put that link in your stories, that's literally allowing them to have the opportunity to have that direct link immediately. When you follow up, instead of just waiting for them to come back and you're reaching out like that, you can absolutely collapse the buying cycle by building that trust in DMs. You can also create a real reason for them to decide now. So having a deadline or offering them something special if they take action in a certain period of time, having a start date for certain things, all of those things can help them make decisions now. You can also collapse the buying cycle by being super crystal clear on your message and who you're actually speaking to, because they feel like you're talking directly to them. And that allows you to build trust far, far faster than just putting up random content. You can also collapse the buying cycle by literally just following all the principles you have learned during this challenge: the objection handling, buyer psychology, the awareness level, storytelling. Everything that we have done so far in this challenge is all meant to collapse the buying cycle. Every single thing that we have done has a purpose throughout this entire 30 days. So, your day 23 action steps. I want you to think about your last few pieces of content, and I want you to ask yourself honestly, am I asking people to trust me for months before they take action, or am I pointing them towards the proof that collapses that timeline? Am I making the path from interest to action as direct as possible, or are there unnecessary steps in between? Am I creating any honest urgency, or am I leaving the decision completely open-ended with no reason for them to act now? And remember, when it comes to talking about the Wealth Society, you can have your own personal urgency. You can offer them something special by joining within a certain period of time. Is your messaging an ideal buyer on point so they feel like you're truly speaking directly to them? It's time to go back and do a quick content audit to make sure that you're hitting the mark of collapsing the buying cycle.